YouTube, we are back with another video. I don't know what's going on, but I just feel like creating, man. I don't know, man. This is probably like my second double upload. I usually don't upload twice in a day, but I was scrolling through on YouTube and I seen this beautiful, magnificent clip. I only seen about a minute of it and I had to stop and pause, and I wanted to react to it because he was saying a lot of things that I personally agree with, such as your happiness comes from the inside, like I keep telling you guys. So enough about what I'm talking about. Let's see what he's about to say.
Born into this life, don't assume you understand life or reality, and don't look to others for answers about how to get the mediocre results that they're getting. Because
ding. Never compare yourself to other people, man. Never compare yourself to other people, because doesn't matter how much money the Jeff Bezos of the world, the Elon Musk of the world. What's the cat that on Facebook? He looked like Screech from Saved by the Bell. Mark Zuckerberg. Doesn't matter how much money he got. What actually matters is what's going on up here and what's going on in here. Because if you don't got these things intact, all the money don't matter, son. It don't matter. I've seen rich people miserable with themselves. Why? Because money can only give you comfort, can't give you happiness. It can make you like suspect that the people that's around you or have some kind of clandestine or ulterior motive. So that's why I say, man, happiness comes from within inside.
everybody around you is basically getting mediocre results in their life. Even if they're successful, they're still getting mediocre results in terms of their internal mood, emotional states, and their consciousness and their psychology. But the real question here is, it's a meta question that you ask. You don't start off life by saying, okay, well, let me just go become a computer programmer, or let me become a doctor, or let me become an engineer, or let me go get married, or let me have a bunch of sex, or let me get a bunch of money, become a businessman on Wall Street. These are all the wrong questions.
Exactly. First of all, not only are those the wrong questions, but until society put that on you, probably somewhere around when you first grade, what do you want to be when you grow up? And then you have to look into society and stuff. I mean, I don't understand why Western culture does that. Maybe because we just unconscious and we don't know any better. But the first thing they should be teaching the children, in my opinion, it's like how to look within. One of the ways to look within is what? Meditation, aka presentation. But let's go on.
First question, the most fundamental question you have to ask is, why am I here? What's going on in the biggest possible picture perspective? What's worthwhile doing and what isn't? What are the traps? And what am I? How does my machine work? If I think of myself as a machine, how do I work?
Whew. Man. He hit some solid points. And I don't know if a 6 or 7 year old kid, when he comes to that terms, is he's going to be asking those questions. Nor is our education system designed to make you ask those questions. It's just not. It's just not. You know, they show you the fireman. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with being a fireman. Actually, we need them. Without them, you know, there'll be a lot of people dying and burning houses. But these are not kind of things that you want to, you know, imprint on children. Like those kind of jobs, they need to search from that stuff from within, man. I'm starting to sound like a broken record, but I'm gonna keep beating this broken record till you guys get it. You can't get happiness from the outside.
Makes me tick. And so most of your energy should be devoted not externally towards running around and doing crazy stuff in the world and having fun and entertainment and going to parties and getting into relationships and falling in love.
Low consciousness stuff, I might add. Very low conscious. It can only sustain you for a little while. It's not gonna sustain. It's not gonna fulfill you for life. It's only a sustainment, man. You really have to use those kind of entertainments as just like not even a means to an end. I'm not saying that you should abstain from that completely, because that's just against what I'm about. You know, you can use them as a tool, but not a crutch, man. Some people like if they ain't turning up for the weekend, if they ain't getting the bottle for the weekend, if they're not getting high, if they ain't smoking for the weekend, you know, they depressed, yo. And there's so much more to life than that, man. You don't have to do that.
It's distraction. The true...
Woo, he said it's a distraction. I kind of agree, but like I said, it's more of a tool, man. Use it, but don't become dependent on it. Don't become dependent on it. And it can become a distraction if you get into it and that becomes your life. It's a complete distraction because you'll never be able to be in touch with your higher self.
Core of life, if you want to live a good life, is to turn your gaze inwards and to ask deep, penetrating questions about how to live life and how your machine works. And basically, what I've discovered throughout my 15-year journey or so through self-help and spirituality is that all of our problems stem fundamentally from a lack of mastery of this machine.
Exactly. I agree.
And specifically of the mind. The mind.
He says specifically of the mind, but, you know, I'm going to add to it the mind and body. Healthy body, healthy mind. Healthy mind, healthy body. They both work in tandem. You can't have the horse without the rider. You can't have the rider without the horse. If you're trying to get to a specific destination, you know. The horse is just going to do his own thing. The person is going to get there, which would be the mind, but it'll be pretty slow. But analogous to what I'm trying to say here is that the horse would be the body, the person would be the mind. And if you don't take care of the horse, or without the horse, the mind's going to get there very slow, especially if you're not taking care of it. That's why I stress, and I probably haven't stressed enough on this channel, but I stress it to all the people I talk to, take care of your diet. It is important, man. Your diet is important. Telling y'all, man, telling you, you have to take care of your diet. I'm not going to tell you what specific foods to eat. You do your own research, and then you go and dive into those certain things and see what works for your particular body. But you need to have your body working at optimal precision, for the lack of a better word.
The mind, its power is very much underappreciated and underestimated by most people.
Exactly.
Because we live under what's known as the materialist paradigm, where we tend to believe that we're living in a material, objective, three-dimensional world that exists independent of our minds, and that our minds play some role within reality, but a minor role.
Woo, he's in on materialism. I ain't gonna attack materialism like that, but I mean, he is right. He is right. We live in a materialistic kind of societies, mainly over in the West. I mean, I don't know about how you guys live all over the East. I lived in the East for about 9 years, but it was really a Western construct in the East. But, I mean, he's hitting on some gems right now. Listen up.
Basically. And that there's not very much that the mind can do to change reality. This is dead wrong. You couldn't be more wrong. This is one of the most pernicious assumptions and latent beliefs that people hold that creates that glass ceiling beyond which they can never grow beyond maybe 1 or 2 or 3% of their true potential as a human.
I agree with that, and I'm gonna stop pausing like that because we only 2 minutes into the video, but I want to hit on that before I lose my train of thought. Forget that. Your mind, the way you perceive reality, is how you'll live reality. For an example, if you're a Christian and you live your life in the traditional Christian sense, like, you know, follow the Bible, go to church in the past, and so on and so forth, and a particular thing happens to you in your life, you're going to perceive it as God did it for you or Jesus did it for you. If you are a person who believes in horoscopes and all that stuff, and you read a particular vague horoscope and it says XYZ is going to happen, and then you see that XYZ happen, you'd be like, oh, my horoscope said that. For the Islamic person, the same thing was with them. if they live under that perspective or they're perceiving it life in that way, they're gonna say Allah did it for them. If you're an atheist or agnostic and you see the world as in everything happens in chance, when something happens, you can be like, oh, that was by chance. That's how you're perceiving it. Not saying that either one of those worldviews are wrong, but it's right for the individual because they're perceiving it that way. Hopefully he's going to elaborate on that. I don't know if he is or not, but I'm going to stay quiet for a little bit.
You have to start to see that the way that everybody around you is living their life, including your family members, brothers and sisters and parents, your friends, your teachers, your coworkers, your bosses, the celebrities that you see on television, the YouTubers that you admire on YouTube and elsewhere, Instagram models and so forth, that this is not how to live life. This is all idiocy. These people are not truly tapping into the potential of a human in living life. And ultimately, what do you want in life? What is it you want? You see, because
I want to be content.
We assume
I want
that,
to be happy.
You know, Leo, it's studying the outer world that's really challenging. Like studying science is hard, studying math is hard, you know, exploring the moon and Mars, outer planets in the solar system. This is difficult stuff. But don't we already know, like, what we want and who we are? These sorts of questions, what use can come from these sorts of questions? They seem very abstract and philosophical and kind of fluffy.
I know he's objecting towards himself. I don't know anybody who would say something like that. I think that's a ridiculous objection, but nevertheless, he's going to cover it, so I'm curious on how he's going to answer that.
Airy-fairy. Not very tangible. You couldn't be more wrong. You have no idea what you are. On every level. You don't know yourself at the physical level, at the psychological level, at the emotional level, at the spiritual level. You don't really understand yourself. And of course,
all right, so what are we?
If you think about it, why would you? You were born into this life, but you don't know how you were born. You don't really know where you came from or why you appeared. You just mysteriously appeared out of nowhere one day. Here you are. Society gave you some stories about where you came from and how you got here and how it's all normal and there's nothing weird and mysterious going on and it's all not very special. But life is very, very special. If you just take a moment to really reflect upon it in solitude. Life is very special. It's very mysterious. It's not quite clear how you got here. It's not clear where you're going and how to get there and where you're going to go in the ultimate end after you die. So,
woo! I want to hit on that. Especially when you die, man. There's so many theories about what happens. Some people say that when you die, you're either going to go to heaven or you're going to go to hell. Or when you die, you're going to be reincarnated. Or when you die, you're going to merge with God. Or when you die, you're just dead. There's nothing else. So there's no clear-cut answer on that. And I tell you the truth, I really don't know that answer. I have my reasonable suspicions based on my experience. I would never try to imprint that on y'all because I want you guys to figure out that answer for yourself. And it does me no good to tell that to you.
The key is to turn your attention inwards and to start to question how your mind influences how you see reality. Your mind is what generates all of your results in life. Now, we're going to be talking about multiple levels of development here. We're going to be talking about some advanced potential for spiritual stuff. So when I'm talking about the ultimate potentials, I'm talking about advanced spirituality. But even before we get to that, there are earlier levels of just self-improvement and self-actualization, which are just more simple and down-to-earth and more practical. And they can be just something as simple as learning how to take care of yourself financially. Stop being a wage slave, becoming financially independent, or...
Woo! Stop being a wage slave. What do you mean by wage slave? Pretty much, probably about like 99.9% of the people that are going to watch this video probably either a wage slave now or in training to become a wage slave. And a wage slave is basically you doing what you don't want to do, but you have to do it for money. That doesn't necessarily mean working for somebody else. Now, if you want to work for somebody else, then you're not necessarily a wage slave. But if you're doing it for the purpose of money, but it's not your true inner purpose, then you're a wage slave. And the society, if you look at how we have our school system set up, it's designing you to be a wage slave. And that's just what it is.
Dealing with your creative anxiety if you're an artist, so that you can do better art, or dealing with some emotional attachments that you have so that you can have nicer relationships, or getting over certain fears that you have about starting a business or whatever. This is all great stuff. This is where you start. But notice, no matter what level you're at, it's your mind that is the gatekeeper, because it's through your mind that nothing comes to you other than through your mind. Everything, all the people you interact with, all the stuff you learn, whether you're learning science or history, that's coming through your own mind. Your mind is interpreting that stuff. It's not just receiving raw facts and objective data from the world. You're constantly interpreting, making meanings out of it, throwing away and ignoring things, filtering stuff out, coloring things with your own biases.
Exactly.
And putting your intentions and goals and objectives on certain things, pursuing certain things while avoiding other things. This is all the work of your mind. So, if you've been living an ordinary, mediocre life up to this point, getting rather mediocre results, and suffering for it, and the suffering could look like depression, anxiety, a lack of results, it could look like sexual frustration, it could look like wage slavery, it could look like being stuck at your job and hating it, it could look like motivational problems, health problems, emotional problems, addictions, a feeling of laziness and listlessness about life, a lack of passion for life. All of this. You know how you develop passion for life? By taking control of yourself.
You know how you develop passion for life? By taking control of yourself. I couldn't agree with that more. Just from my I only been like hardcore on this journey about a month. And now I just feel like I have so much creative freedom by just taking control of myself, controlling my diet, exercising, getting the sunlight, which I would be outside right now, but the clouds is out and it's a little cold. Being out there in nature, exercising, so on and so forth, meditation. Now I have so much creative freedom right now. Like I feel like I'm doing what I want. I'm not really, I don't really care about all other stuff. I'm just out here making videos, just helping people. I didn't really know that. He hit that right on the head. So when you start taking care of yourself, son, you start following your passion. I guess right now my passion is I want to see other people grow. And I want to look at them and be like, damn, I remember when that person, when he was here, but look at him now, yo. You know what I'm saying? And that could be in any kind of, it doesn't have to be materialistic. Like, hey, look, I'm looking at him when he had like a little business. Now he's like a multimillionaire, I feel like the growth really comes when they work on the inside, bro. It's so much, like this infinite potential. There's no number. There's no cap to human potential, man. I'm telling y'all, son. Telling y'all. Just bear with me. You only got like a minute left. I'm only probably going to stop it a couple more times.
And making yourself into a self-help project. That's how you become passionate about life. That's the work we're doing here.
I didn't know he was going to say that. I didn't know. He said the passion comes from when you become a self-help project. Damn. And that's kind of like what I'm doing now in some kind of sense. Self-help. Helping people help themselves. There's a lot of passion in that, yo. I did not know that. I don't know, maybe because we all connected. Yo, that's dope. I didn't know he was going to say that.
There's a lot to this work. This is a multi-decades-long project. This is not something you do for a few years to get a quick result, and then you stop. This is something you do for the rest of your life. In fact, this is what gives life its zest and its juice. Without this, life becomes utilitarian. At some point, once you get your girlfriend or your boyfriend or your husband or your wife or your car or your house or your business or whatever, then life just becomes about maintaining that. It becomes a grind, and then that itself becomes a form of depression and suicidal thoughts and feeling of being trapped and frustrated and all that. Because you're living life at this very utilitarian survival level where you're just surviving like an animal. That needs to stop. You need to pursue life beyond survival. That doesn't mean that you ignore survival needs. You have survival needs, many of them sexual ones, financial ones, emotional ones, material ones. By all means, those need to be intelligently satisfied within reason and limits. But your eye needs to be on the prize. The prize of life is living beyond survival. It's living for something deeper. Connecting
Spiritual?
with life itself.
Oh,
On an emotional, intuitive, spiritual level.
spiritual level. I
That's
knew
what
it.
makes life satisfying.
All right. So that's the end of the video. As you guys can see right here, the full episode is on youtube.com/actualize.org, or he put actualize.org, but it's actually actualize.org. You can see the full video there. I got to give you guys a heads up. It's like an hour and some change. Usually his videos are about 2 hours long. Usually my videos, I've been trying to make them short, but this one had to be a long one just because it was a 10-minute video and I had to react to it. So if you guys enjoyed it, drop a like, share it with somebody who it may help. Not just mine, more specifically his. He actually, when it comes to self-help, this man is actually, it's a little out there, a little different. It's got a different perspective on reality, but if you're able to, if his personal beliefs affect you, but you're the type of person who can like discard that and see where he's pointing at, then his channel will help you, because it's out there looking for more. You know, not only just the spiritual aspect, he helps you out in the carnal ways or the ways of the flesh as well. But that's enough for the video. I'll catch you guys later. I'm out.